over the weekend, the scrimmage took place in Tiger Stadium. Stewie was there for the what turned out to be a long practice and a short little stint of on the field drills. Stewie, tell us what you saw.
Denver Harris was back.
Hey.
Yeah, Denver Harris was back. Mason Smith participated in individual drills, but he didn't do team drills. Caleb Jackson is going to be a problem. Ashton Stamps, the freshman cornerback from New Orleans, is probably going to see a lot more playing time than people think. I mean, that was really the three players that like really stood out to me. I mean, Zy Alexander had some great coverage on Malik Neighbors. Like it was like bang bang plays. Malik was just making the play sometimes, but sometimes Zy Alexander won
good
the
on
rep.
good.
Yeah, it was just good on good, and it was great to see as far as like the DB room taking that step to challenging the offense. So, I mean, that was really it. They really didn't do much. It was kind of like BK was kind of fucking with us a little bit, like the media, because they were like scrimmage, and we didn't get to see the scrimmage last season, so we were thinking, okay, we'll get a little scrimmage in Tiger Stadium, get there, it's 2 hours worth of practice, 30 minutes worth of scrimmaging.
Which is really 15 minutes worth of scrimmaging.
Right, because we got to see one-on-ones. They did some like 3-on-3, 2-on-2 drills, like a screen drill. Did some 7-on-7. That was, was what it is. I mean, the offense was winning because I think these drills.
Yeah,
right,
he wants them to.
Right, these drills are set up for the offense to win, and like I think a lot of people kind of get that lost in the sauce. I guess like whenever they see like Jaden Daniels going 6 for 11 at practice. That's like that's not really like official stats, but I mean he was probably like 7 for or like 8 for 12.
Three touchdowns.
3 touchdowns. But I mean people see that and they're like, oh, our defense is bad. But really the defense isn't really far behind the offense. Created some turnovers. Omar Spates punched the ball out on Mason Taylor. Wasn't really too many picks. Wasn't really too many interceptions. It was more of like not too much ball on the ground at all. So I liked what I saw.
My biggest takeaway from Saturday, by far, is what's happening on the offensive line.
Lance Hurd also. I forgot to fail to mention that.
We mentioned this right at the start of the camp. Start of camp. They looked at this lineup. I believe in the first practice that they went for fall. They went out for fall. They looked at this lineup. This is something that over the summer they were talking about, they were anticipating, and they were getting prepared for. And as the season closes in, the first 3 drives on Saturday, where you had LSU's offensive line on the field, Lance Hurd was the starting right tackle. Now, in the second drive with the ones, they went back to the original lineup of Miles Frazier at right guard, Emory Jones at right tackle. But the third time that the ones got on the field, they had Lance Hurd back at the right tackle spot and Emory Jones kicked down. That is... Will you go grab Shay?
Oh, absolutely.
Please. That is where they want to be. They want Lance Hurd to be their starting right tackle, obviously. It was a huge takeaway, I thought, in the opening day of fall practice when they were looking at that lineup. And now here as the season is closing in and they are looking more on scrimmages on the field and they've got Lance Hurd running with the ones, you're looking at an offensive line of Lance Hurd and Emory Jones on the right side and Dellinger and Campbell on the left side with a senior in the middle and Charles Turner. LSU potentially, there is a lot of question marks of things that need to happen, things that have not happened, experience that's just not there with a guy like Hurd. But if it all checks out, LSU potentially could have one of the best offensive lines in the country when it comes down to it. And possibly the top offensive line in the league. Now, Georgia is an animal, and potentially you would have to run into them in Atlanta, and it would come down to line of scrimmage play, obviously, and Georgia has recruited at a very, very high level. And we saw it last year with a guy like Emory Jones where, you know, he took some lessons from some first-rounders and some top overall selections. Guys like Jalen Carter and out there with Jones, but you'll have to go through that. But when you think about what the potential is of having those guys on the same line of scrimmage, and then, you know, the experience that they could put together of being starters again next season and bringing all of that experience back and that talent back. I mean, man, this is, I think, you know, we talked about it early on. This is what LSU wanted to get to from an offensive line standpoint. They are looking at this very early. I mean, the potential of Emory Jones playing guard and Lance Hurd being a tackle on the same line